Really?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your videos, some, and I found it was quite intriguing because I had a lot of the same experiences here in the Philippines when I first started scouting for
Uh-huh.
products for my Japanese clients.
Uh-huh.
And since then, the Japanese client, the deal has fallen through. However, I picked up a nice Hong Kong group, and they work together. There's a lot of guys working in a group, and they have good substantial power. And we've been working together for about a year and a half now,
Uh-huh.
and it's been a bit of a nightmare because we've had two people go over to Africa. Uh, one of them, actually three. We've had three people go over to Africa. One of them is based in Africa. He's actually British, but he's African descent, and he's actually based in Africa. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
The
hear you. I
connection.
can hear you. I can hear you.
We've got a French guy over there now who has been stuck there for 3 months.
Wow.
So we have the situation. This is why the customer is very flexible. But because of the year and a half to 18-month exercise of sending people over there and time after time having trouble constantly, they've now locked up completely. And they're saying only CIF and seller is responsible for everything until the poor. And that's when I kind of came across you. I've been watching you for a while now. Believe in the same idea because I've been to the mountains in Nubataan, the Compostela Valley, San Francisco. I've been to the ball mills, and I understand that. And we took food too, you know. We took food. We had barbecues for them. We had meetings with different miners and that sort of thing. But we just found that we couldn't get the right fit. The right fit has been a big issue for us.
I can
And,
find you. I
and
can supply you
I'm
clients.
not
Yeah,
by
go ahead.
How about in the Philippines? But perhaps not Africa. How about in the Philippines?
In the Philippines,
Colombia.
we have gold in the Philippines, Jason. We have, but it's very tricky. Okay, I've been in. I was born in the Philippines. I'm from Surigao del Sur. I was born there. I know.
Aha.
Aha. We have gold in the Philippines. I know
Uh-huh.
that. But your buyer needs to
Yes.
understand that this gold in the Philippines is not mine. It is belong to a Japanese Second World War. We have gold in the Philippines if you want
Uh-huh.
gold. But the problem is, I want
Uh-huh.
to talk to the buyer because the seller would not deal with any chain of brokers.
Yeah.
I am their mandate. I can
Right.
arrange I can arrange to meet the buyer together with the lawyer, right? And I need to talk to the buyer. If he is a Japanese, he can get the gold is 74.5 in one bar. 74.5 in one bar.
74.5 kilo, yeah?
Yeah, in one bar. But the
Right.
price
Right.
is really how the buyer will take out of the country. This is the problem. How he is going to take out.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. This is it. Yeah. I have a New Zealand guy who's been running around dealing with that sort of product up in Sabato. Same type of this old Japanese product and that. So, okay, well, how about we try and intervene into the situation in Africa? Now, my buyer they're a Hong Kong group. They're very competent. They have the ability. There's a Saudi guy and a Chinese guy, and there's two other Chinese and a mixed group, and they also have a hedge fund. So they're very competent buyers, but they're just number one. They were working with an old school technique of CIF and
Wouldn't
all
work.
that, pushing
It wouldn't work,
the idea that
Jason. Jason,
yeah,
it wouldn't
you
work.
come to the
It wouldn't work at
yeah.
all. It wouldn't work.
I know because it hasn't worked in 18 months.
If you watch let me finish. If you watch the video that I have conference
Yeah,
with my seller, it is
yeah.
exactly the same. I will travel with the buyer, but I will charge my airfare, my hotel accommodation, and spending money. I can guarantee that he would get gold, but he can get only 70% CIF, not 100%, because there is tax on that. So the buyer has to pay the gold in order for the seller to pay the tax to the government. I think I already explained it to on video. If you are really paying attention on that and tell your buyer, I can guarantee that he would get gold. I can guarantee. But I need to travel with the buyer. Because if I am not there, the seller would not believe with the buyer. You get my point?
And we have all sorts. Yes, because of the troubles recently, I wanted to talk to you first before I pitch you to the group. You see, this is why I wanted to speak to you first, so I can say to the guys, look, here's the videos. Clearly, she knows what she's doing. I've had a conversation with her myself over Skype. I know that you guys are kind of against this idea, but perhaps if you have the right person and can work with the people who are already there from our group, who are already there, because we have, at the moment, we have 2 people there who are basically kind of stuck, going in a little circle like this.
Work at all,
One of the
Jason.
French, and the other guy is, well, he's African, but he grew up in England, you know, so we have it.
Okay. It wouldn't work at all, Jason. It wouldn't work at all if the buyer is not invited. It wouldn't work at all. I'm telling you. The seller is not interested to deal with the chain of broker. That is why I was hired by the seller. I am the seller's representative and marketing consultant on mandate. I'm the one who will say yes or no. I'm the one who will say yes, proceed the contract, or else the buyer would never get the gold. That is why my video is very unique, because you can see the seller, you can see me talking to the seller, and it's very simple. For example, on 20 kilos, this is only an example. On 20 kilos, the buyer has to pay the 7 kilos. The buyer has to pay 7 kilos. And the 13 kilos, the buyer will pay after final assay to bring that to his destination. That is very, very simple. Very simple.
I just wanted to clarify that last point. So 7% of, so 7 kilos of 20 kilos is 35%. So they pay 35% and they cash and carry those 7 bars.
That's correct.
After a say at the refinery.
That's right.
And then the seller will ship the remaining 13% to
70%,
the destination.
70%. 70%, which is 13 kilos. On 20 kilos.
Am I correct?
No, let me finish first. Let me finish. On the 20 kilos, the buyer has to pay the 7 kilos. He will get the export documentation. Now the 7 kilos is cash. The 7 kilos, the seller will use that to pay the taxes to the government, to pay his worker, to pay the overhead. Now the seller will pay that on the total 20 kilos, the tax. That's why our price is tax inclusive, you must remember. So the buyer would not pay any taxes at all. But he has to pay the 7 kilos. You got me? You got me? He has to pay the 7 kilos in order for the seller to declare that. In order for the seller to declare to his government that he's going to export to you, Jason. It's very, very simple, really. Broker doesn't understand what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. So is it, once that's done, is it the same procedure? Like once it gets to the port, do the assay and then release the TT?
Well, the 7 kilos, let's say the 20 kilos, right? The tasting of the 20 kilos is just $50 per kilo. Okay? Initial assay 50 times 20. Okay? 50 times 20. The buyer has to pay $1,000 to the local refinery because he is the applicant. Right? He is the applicant. So he has to taste the gold in order to get the carats and the purity. Right. Then, after the assay, the buyer has to pay bank to bank. On the 7 kilos, bank to bank. Right. So to clear the payment bank to bank, it would take 3 or working days. You got me?
Okay. So the bank to bank transfer is done of export, right?
Yes.
Or is it done? Is the remaining 13 kg paid for example, you know, at the port, or is it when it arrives and they've done the final assay on the 13 kilo and then the TT is paid?
Correct.
Because they can pretty much do it in the same day.
Correct.
How does that work, the last section? Because it's very vague, the last section.
I will repeat again, Jason. It's very, very clear and simple, just like in elementary.
Yeah.
On the contract,
Yeah.
it would say 20 kilos. Right. Our selling price today
Yeah.
is $36,000 per kilo. That is 11% discount out of the world market price. Right. 11%, which is $36,000.
What's the quality?
The quality is 22.54 carats.
22.54, okay.
Okay? That is very simple. It's on the video. Very simple.
Okay.
You give that video to your group. Jason.
Yeah.
You
I
give
understood that.
Yeah?
But I just didn't understand the last part, which was, okay, I got it. So 35% is 7 kilos. They paid that. They have an option, okay? But they're going to get the export document for the entire 20 kilos, correct?
Correct. No, this is how.
Okay.
This is.
So,
hang on. The reason why, because the buyer and the seller are afraid to each other. So
that's
what
right. Always.
we have what I have done. I break the problem. I solve the problem. On the contract is 20 kilos. Okay? The buyer has to pay the 7 kilos, which is his down payment. Right. That is his down payment. So the seller will give the buyer a separate export documentation on the 7 kilos. He can carry that because he paid that gold 7. Now the 13 kilos, the seller will carry as well, together with his representative, because the 13 kilos doesn't belong to the buyer yet.
The seller is moved. Sorry to Wilhelmina, so the seller is moving himself to the port with the 13 kilos.
Together with the buyer. Together.
Together with the buyer.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making this note.
Yeah.
Okay. So then they get to the port in Hong Kong. What happens then?
Well, the seller will come together with the buyer inside the refinery to acid the gold. Then after the acid, then the balance payment transfer bank to bank to the seller's bank account.
Okay. Refinery will be complete, then the usual standard PT, the usual procedure. Okay.
Very simple.
Okay, so the unique aspect of this, there are two unique aspects. Number one is you, for a starter.
Yeah.
You being the pivotal aspect of
I have to be there. I have to be with the buyer. I have to be. But I charge my service. Jason. I charge my trip. I charge my airfare, my hotel accommodation, and spending money. But when the buyer pay, the $10,000 would be deducted on the total payment. Will be minus.
Okay. Now, as a mandate, okay, so it's 10K.
Yep.
Does that's your fee? Is that your fee, or does that include the travel expenses?
No, that's only travel expenses. That's only the travel expenses. I don't ask the buyer commission. Only the travel expenses extra.
Okay, so it's a 10K travel allowance for all your bits and pieces, and so you get your commission from the seller, being the seller's mandate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Okay.
And then the $10,000 would be minus when the buyer pay the products.
Okay, fine. So the buyer is basically paying the full rate plus 10K.
Extra service.
Yeah. Full rate plus 10K.
Yeah.
Additional. Okay. Okay. All right. Very good, madam. Let's see if I've been doing this a while now, so let's see if I've missed anything. Okay, so we understand the 20 kilo, we understand the 7K, that can be cash and carried, you'll get export documents, and that can be lifted, but the remaining 13K, the seller will provide the documents and they will travel with the buyer back to the port of final destination, do the refinery. These people have an accountant for a refinery also, so they are a part of a refinery.
Okay, there's no
So
problem.
they're quite, yeah. Than the usual procedure. And the only defining uniqueness, well, there are two, which is the you have to be present, and number two, the 10K for the expense.
Yep.
Do you think I've missed anything?
Sorry? We have the buyer in
Do you think I've
Bamako
missed
right now.
anything from that?
Sorry?
Do you think I've missed anything?
No, it's fine. That's very simple. It's really very clear and very simple. That video
Do you think I've missed anything from that?
no, you didn't miss anything. You didn't. What the
Okay,
buyer
okay,
is
so
going
I've got
to
it all right.
what the
But
buyer is doing, Jason, the buyer has to send a letter of intention to purchase, attention to Wilhelmina Ford. Attention. Because the seller will invite the buyer to come to Bamako. The seller will request the immigration to issue the cable visa, because we will invite. The seller
okay, very
will
good.
send the cable
Now,
visa. Yeah.
okay, I just want to interrupt you there because that's a very good point. Now, traditionally, the procedure would be soft corporate offer, LOI, then full corporate offer. What's your process on that? Your procedure?
Okay.
So is it straight?
Okay, on the procedure is like this. Must be on the buyer's company letterhead. Okay. The buyer will state how many quantity he needs on the first trial shipment, what carat he is looking for, and uh, and the refinery address of that buyer, because we will put that on the contract. The refinery address, the telephone number, and email address is very important. Then the mode of payment. The mode of payment must be bank to bank. Okay? Now the buyer has to pay extra on 20 kilos, which is
Okay, just write it down.
$1,000, to assay the gold, to taste the gold, in order for the buyer to get the assay report on the 20 kilos. Right. You understand? And then the buyer has to bring a metal box to put his 7 kilos separate, because he
I thought it was
paid
20
7
kilos.
kilos.
Okay, so $100,000.
Yes, metal box. You put the metal, you can buy in Hong Kong for $100.
The connection, the connection, the connection cut.
But anyway, our
Right,
conversation is
I'll go
recorded.
back to the top while you were talking about the refinery.
Yeah, I will repeat again,
Okay,
Jason.
yeah, but the connection cut out, so I did.
It's okay,
Yeah,
because
just the refinery part.
hang on, Jason, our conversation is recorded. I will send it to you, our conversation, so that you can send it to your buyer. Okay? The Skype is recorded, so that you can review it. You can send it to your buyer. I will repeat again. Okay, I will repeat again so that you will listen very carefully. The buyer has to send us a letter of intention to purchase. Number one, he has to state how many quantity he needs. That's very important. We encourage the buyer to start a trial, because that is very crucial in order to build the buyer and the seller's confidence. On the 20 kilos, the buyer will pay 7 kilos after the assay. After. Okay? So that the seller can pay his government taxes and pay his worker. So the 7 kilos belong to the buyer. So the seller will give the separate export documentation on the 7 kilos. Right. So the payment must be bank to bank. When the payment would be cleared after 3 working days, that is the time the seller will secure export documentation on the total 20. The 7 kilos, the seller will pay taxes. Then the 13 kilos, the seller will pay the taxes. because the 7 kilos, which is 36,000 times 7, that is $252,000. So there is enough money to pay taxes to the government of the seller. You got my point? You understand that? But on the contract, Jason, will
Yes, I
be
do.
20 kilos. On the contract is 20 kilos. Right, on the contract is 20 kilos. But we will break down that we will state that the 7 kilos will be paid as a down payment. Right. You got my point? You got my point, Jason? Yes, I will repeat again, Jason, so that you will understand. Okay? This is very, very simple. If you watch the video that I have on my seller, it is very, very clear, and the buyer will understand
Okay.
that.
Every time you get to the refinery part, you cut out the connection part.
It's
No,
okay.
no, 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 no. Don't repeat the whole thing.
It's okay. It's recorded. It's all right. It's
That's
all
my
right,
point,
Jason.
because I understand the first part.
It's
But
all
you
right.
said something
Yeah.
about a refinery cost. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I understood that part. The only problem is that every time you get to the refinery part, the internet cuts out.
Okay. I will repeat again. The refinery is like this. The 20 kilos, the seller will bring
Like
that to the
now.
refinery. Now, just listen, because I will give you the recording anyway. On the 20 kilos, the seller will bring that 20 kilos to the local refinery to taste the whole 20. Right. So that the buyer will get the full assay report. What carat is the gold and the purity of the gold. Right. Okay? So after the assay report, the local refinery will issue the assay report. Okay. So the buyer has to emphasize that what he is going to use, because gold has many uses. Either he's gonna make into jewelry or gold bullion. Because if the buyer is making gold bullion, we will give them extra, because when the gold will be re-smelted in Hong Kong, the gold will reduce. The gold will shrink. That is the reason why our procedure is very unique. No such seller are going to give you this kind of information. So that is the reason why the buyer has to emphasize what he intends to use, so that we will calculate when we bring the gold to Hong Kong, because the gold will shrink a few grams. So the seller can bring extra bar in order to cover whatever the losses of the gold during the final assay, if the buyer will get the gold volume 99.99. Is that make sense? Does that make sense? You hear me, Jason? The network is very bad. But anyway, our conversation is recorded. You will hear everything. Okay?
Yes, it does. Now,
Right.
now just one question.
Yeah?
The 7 kg refinery. Yeah.
Yeah? You type it. You type it so that I can read it.
Yeah.
Type it. Okay, the 7 kg, yep. The 7 kg belong to the buyer because he paid that cash. The refinery cost, it include the cash paid? No. The buyer will pay the whole total 20. Okay, the 50 kilo, $50 times 20, that is $1,000.
Ah, 50 kg times 20. $50
Yep,
times
100. 1 times 20, which is $1,000.
kg. Okay. Yeah, because the connection was very poor, and I thought it was $100,000.
No, it's
It's
$1,000.
$1,000.
Yes, because the
Okay.
buyer is the applicant. So he is going
Okay.
to ask the refinery to taste the gold before he is going to release the payment bank to bank.
Okay.
You get now? You understand
Good.
now? Any questions?
Um, So we go through the procedures. We have an LOI asking the quantity, the quality, and the usage of it.
Yeah.
And then you respond with a purchasing agreement for a trial.
Yeah, we have to have, we will send them, when the buyer send us a letter of intention, attention to Wilhelmina, we will send the buyer an acknowledgement letter. In response to his letter of intention, a contract. We will send him a contract. Okay? And we will put all the banking details of the seller. And the buyer has to provide me the banking details so that I could put that on the contract. And then the buyer will send it back to us, to me, and then we will send him the cable visa, because the cable visa is the most important, that the seller inviting the buyer. You got me? And I would be arriving the day before the buyer come. I will arrive so that I could meet the buyer in the airport together with my seller, the driver and my seller, to meet the buyer in the airport. You got me?
Now, in the contract, does it also include the timeline for your 10K service fee?
Yes, will be deducted, will be minus it, yes. Yes.
Okay, so that'll be minus at the end, or will it be prepaid?
We can do that on prepaid, yeah, on the 7 kilos, we will minus that, there's no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for you to put out your personal expense to go all the way over there.
There's
You
no
may as well
sense,
just...
because I would be on the ground anyway. There's no sense, because once the
Yeah,
buyer
yeah.
pay, just minus it, the $10,000, yeah. We'll give you the invoice, yeah. It would be stated on the
Yeah,
invoice, yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because they've already spent money sending people over there, and
Well,
they've come up with
they're
nothing.
crazy. They're
Yeah.
crazy. Wilhelmina is here.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite happy that I came across you, really, because I believed in this system myself. Like what you were saying, I believed in it, but I just couldn't find the right people, especially here in the Philippines. I was getting... I mean, they're very nice people. They have nice intentions, but once they spell money, then it just everything goes crazy, you know.
See now, in the beginning, how did you found my video? How did you found my Facebook? Just very intriguing, isn't it? Tell me. Tell me, Jason, how did you found my video? How did it? Can you hear me, Jason?
Yeah, it's a
Jason?
very good way that you use video.
Yeah? So I'm very pleased. It's working, isn't it? Your network is not, your network is very bad, Jason.
That's the key.
Yeah?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
So thank you for founding me on the world internet. Internet is the superhighway now. You can find anything. You can find everything on
Yeah,
the
it's
internet.
amazing.
Yeah. So we can interact each other
Brilliant.
live video, isn't it? Hmm.
Okay, great. I'll give you my email address, or you can download the interview onto Skype, and then I will forward it to my group, and then I'll try and persuade them to go our way.
Okay, you'll send me, put your email, and I will send you an email, and I will also send you this conversation that we have today, because our conversation is recorded on
Perfect.
Skype.
Perfect.
Would you mind if I put this on my
Yes.
Facebook, our conversation? Would you mind if your name is on live? Would you mind?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind at all.
Okay, I will put
I
our
don't mind.
conversation. I will upload this on YouTube. Would you mind? Jason, would you mind if I upload our conversation on YouTube and Facebook? Would you mind to allow me that?
No, I don't mind because I'm a qualified television director, so I give you permission.
All right. Thank you very much. It's a 100% guaranteed that you allow me. So I will upload this on YouTube and on LinkedIn and Facebook, that we meet each other live video conference, so that the buyer would say, I found Wilhelmina. Jason and Wilhelmina was really have a good conversation. I've been losing money. I've been frustrating searching for gold, dealing with bunch of joker broker online. So this is very unique, isn't it? Very, very unique. Do you agree on what we have? What I say, Jason? Do you agree on what I have
It's
said?
very frustrating, but we can.
All right. Well, I'm very pleased that
Absolutely, I agree.
I'm very pleased, Jason, that you found Wilhelmina. You know, I will tell you my background, Jason. I sell properties here in Australia. In Australia, we sell properties online. We buy groceries online, delivered in our doorstep. After I returned from a trip from West Africa, I was the one who introduced this. I introduced this unique procedure because I was even blog these idiot brokers and idiot buyers. They couldn't even afford to pay their, excuse my language, they cannot even afford to pay 5 kilos. They don't have the money asking CIF. Who will give you CIF, Jason? If you have the owner of the gold, do you think you're gonna give it to me for free? Would you?
Yes, yes. This is a
See?
common belief.
See? You live in Davao. Do you think if you own the gold in Davao, for example, and I will ask you, Jason, deliver this in Brisbane, would you be able to give it to Wilhelmina? Would you? Would you like? Would you be?
Yeah, in Davao, they would charge you.
How much?
In Davao, they would charge 4%
See?
over spot price, not give a discount of 4% under spot price.
See? See? So this video
Yeah,
conference that we
right.
have, I'm sure there's a lot of buyers around the world that are really mad. They've been a victim. They've been um, they've been losing money. They've been frustrating, searching for supply. Africa is the huge continent. They have gold and diamond, cashew, coffee, cocoa. But how you are able to get the supply? Wilhelmina is the key. Wilhelmina is the key to a main supplier because the supplier hired Wilhelmina to market globally. Live video. You found Wilhelmina on Facebook. That is very unique, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you,
The,
Jason.
the, the,
Yeah, go ahead.
the reach and the scope of finding very good suppliers,
Yes, I
the
agree.
reach and the scope of finding good suppliers, and also the 50
Well, today is a Wednesday. I'm off today, right? I'm at home and I work 7 days a week. And I work daytime and night. Every night I close 3 o'clock in the morning because we have time different from Brisbane to other part of the world. In the Philippines, we are ahead
That's
of
right.
2 hours. You are from New Zealand. You come to the Philippines. Welcome to my former country. Welcome. I'm very pleased that you are in my
Thank you.
former country. That is my birthplace. I live in Australia. I'm an Australian citizen. So I am third income Aussie now. I left my culture. My
Yes,
procedure, my style is Australian way of doing business. It's no longer a Filipino. But my blood running on my vein is still Filipino. But the way I talk is no longer Filipino. I talk the way we Australians selling products. You see it, you pay for it. If you don't have the money, go away and good luck. Something like that. Does that make sense? I think we have a breakdown on your network in Davao. But anyway, put your email.
yeah.
You. I will send you our
That's
conversation.
true. That's how it works.
Yeah, Jason. By the way, I have to
Yeah.
shorten our conversation. Put your email. I will send you our conversation so that you can show it to your direct buyer, and I will upload this uh, to my Facebook as well so that buyer can see what we have discussed, and then the buyer will say, I will talk to Wilhelmina. This is what I'm looking for. Something like that. All right. Jason, thank you very much for our conversation. It's a pleasant good afternoon. The time here is at 3 p.m. Wednesday, 2017. Thank you and maraming salamat. Good day. All right. Paalam, Jason.